Hello and welcome to Research Matters podcast. Today Aishwarya Viswamitra, will give you a summary of science stories that were published during the week on Research Matters. In your weekly dose of Indian science news today, I cover stories on ecology, stray dogs, and even nuclear war. Before hopping into this week's podcast, how are you doing? Amidst the pandemic and the panic, I hope you're still feeling sane. I, for one, don't know what to do with all the time at home, and that coupled with not knowing what's going on outside can make me a little anxious. But hey, let's remember to take it one day at a time. Our editor wrote a wonderful article on the effect of misinformation spreading along with the virus, so do check it out. You can find it on www.researchmatters.in. With that, let's get started. The tension between India and Pakistan is not only felt during cricket matches. Since independence, the two countries have been at loggerheads over Kashmir, a region both countries claim to be theirs. In an effort to find a solution to this problem, 3 major wars between the two countries have occurred, and the solution still remains elusive. This uncertainty has led to both the countries stockpiling nuclear armaments, and in recent years, the tension has escalated, pushing them to the brink of a fully blown nuclear war. A study by an international team of researchers has analyzed the global consequence of a regional nuclear war between India and Pakistan. Based on the nuclear arsenals of India and Pakistan, 5 teragram of soot would be released into the atmosphere if they are used. That's 5 followed by 9 zeros, kilograms. This amount of soot can't possibly be good for the environment, and the researchers found that the global water cycle would be perturbed for at least a decade. Ozone depletion would occur, the rainfall would decrease by 7.9%, and the surface temperature would fall by 1.8 degrees Celsius. That would be the Earth's coldest average temperature in the last 1,000 years. The climate change in turn would detrimentally affect food production, reducing the total global calorific production of the world staple by about 11% annually for 5 years after the war. And this number doesn't factor in the crop loss in India and Pakistan because of the nuclear war. If included, the loss would rise to 19%. So, as I mentioned, the temperature would fall. What's so bad about global cooling? I thought it was global warming we had to worry about. The abrupt drop in temperature provides little or no time to switch to other crops, roll out new seeds at scale, develop cold-resistant varieties, or move croplands to more suitable areas. Simply put, while global warming negatively affects mostly the tropics, global cooling affects the bread baskets of the world. While the pollution described by a nuclear war has not happened yet, vehicular exhaust is a major concern right now. It is a significant cause of air pollution in India, resulting in the rise of many fatal respiratory illnesses. There are, guess, 249 million registered vehicles. In the past, urban greening, or the process of planting trees within cities, has proven to remove air pollutants. But do all species of trees work equally well in all areas within the city? A study from the Forest Research Institute in Dehradun has tested the hardiness and adaptability of mango and silver oak trees along the National Highway 72, which links Haridwar to Ambala. The results are as follows. Mango trees had a 120% increase in their ability to cool the environment, whereas silver oak showed an increase of 51%. Trees also absorb heavy metals from the vehicular exhaust and utilize them for their growth. The researcher found a 45 to 50% increase in the levels of the heavy metal copper within the leaves of the tree. Interestingly, when compared to the reserved forest, the highway trees were actually better at using water. Although the trees were defensive towards air pollutants, they were sensitive to its devastating effects. There was a reduction in the total chlorophyll content and an acidic pH in the leaves. Thus, it becomes important to investigate responses in varying diverse locations to select trees that could be used to combat air pollution in that geographical area. With the boom in India's urban population, more research needs to be done on which species of trees can mitigate pollution. When we talk about India's urban population, we think humans. But humans aren't the only animals that roam the urban streets. What about stray dogs? Scientifically called Canis lupus familiaris, they live in joint families where members are related and play a role in caregiving. But why? A study from ICER Kolkata has shown that dogs too have developed strategies to coexist with humans, and numbers play a role in it. The researchers approached packs of dogs and individual dogs with 3 social cues: a friendly gesture, a low threatening gesture, which is raising their hand to shoo away the dogs, and a high threatening gesture, where the experimenter raised a stick in his hand. They wanted to see if the individual dog responded differently from when in a pack. Once the dogs were approached with one of these cues, the experimenter handed some bits of chicken to see if these dogs would eat them. The experiments were video recorded, and these videos were analyzed to note the time the dogs spent gazing at the experimenter and eating the food that was handed to them. Here are the results. When approached with a friendly cue, dogs in the group gaze longer at the experimenter and are more likely to come closer to him than solitary ones. When the dogs were threatened with a stick, those in a group and those alone appeared scared and made little eye contact. They did not gaze. However, when food was offered to lone dogs, they stayed away, while a group of dogs would approach. Thus, they gained confidence from being in a group. Interestingly, only one member of the group would eat the food. This indicates a possible hierarchy, which is what the researchers will work on next. Thank you for listening to this episode of Research Matters podcast. Stay safe and stay indoors. See you next weekend.